Ever heard of Mary Turner? She was 8 months pregnant when she was brutally lynched, not because she committed a crime, but because she dared to speak out against the murder of her husband. Her story is one of unspeakable horror, but it's also a reminder of why we must never forget our history. In May 1918, in Brooks County, Georgia, a white plantation owner named Hampton Smith was killed. Instead of conducting a real investigation, white mobs went on a rampage, targeting black men and women with absolutely no evidence. Over a dozen people were lynched in just a few days, and one of them was Hayes Turner, Mary Turner's husband. Mary Turner was only 20 years old, and she was 8 months pregnant when she did something that black women at the time were not supposed to do. She spoke out. She spoke out loudly, and she spoke out publicly. She demanded justice for her husband's murder, saying the mob had killed an innocent man. And for that, they turned on her. The next day, a mob of white men kidnapped her. They dragged her to Folsom Bridge near the Little River and did the unthinkable. First, they hung her upside down from a tree, and then they doused her with gasoline, and they set her on fire. While she was still alive, a member of the mob took a knife and sliced open her stomach. Her baby, just weeks from being born, fell to the ground, and then they murdered the baby. A man in the mob stomped on its skull and crushed its head. Then they shot the baby in front of the entire crowd. And if that wasn't enough, they fired hundreds of bullets into Mary Turner's burned body. And guess what? Not a single person was arrested. Not one. And after this massacre, many black families fled Georgia in fear. But Mary Turner's story, it didn't die with her. In fact, her name became a symbol of the fight against racial violence. Years later, her murder was included in the NAACP reports about lynching, helping to push for anti-lynching laws, though it took 100 years for lynching to finally be recognized as a federal crime. Today, a historical marker stands in her honor in Brooks County, Georgia, reminding us that we can never forget our past. Yeah, Mary Turner's story is painful, but her strength, her courage, her voice, it all matters. And it's up to us to keep saying her name. This is why history matters. This is why we cannot stay silent.
Hey, y'all, and welcome. Hey, look, man. I know the show's a little bit late, right? But something came across my desk that was just too funny. You gotta check it out, man. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I really don't know what to say to this.
Democratic State Representatives Anita Somani, an OBGYN from Dublin, and Tristan Rader of Lakewood.
The whole entire point of this bill is to call out the hypocrisy of particularly the state legislature when they bring forward bills to regulate women's bodies.
Now, there are exceptions to the proposed law, which
Can't nobody see that.
include sperm donation, contraception, and members of the LGBTQ community.
Okay, I see. That's what this is all about. Yep. Y'all some haters.
Men face a maximum $10,000 fine after the third offense if they have sex with a woman without the intention of conceiving a child.
Men have the same rights no matter where they go in the country. Women have rights based on where they live.
It just misses the most basic biological facts and leans in towards middle school humor.
Austin Beigel with End Abortion Ohio calls the proposal disrespectful to the pro-life community and a waste of state resources.
They have to review it when they file it. They're going to have to stick a legal team on it, wasting time on that and delaying other bills that are trying to be reviewed as well.
ABC6 asking viewers about the proposal in an online poll. 26% said it's a good idea. 74% telling us it's a waste of time.
This may be considered a waste of money by some people, but we have had far bigger misuse of taxpayer money in bills that have been proposed and passed.
The final draft still being written. The proposed legislation will get a hearing after it's submitted. But with a Republican-controlled legislature, the bill not expected to go anywhere.
For this particular bill,
basically, this was a waste of time.
Particular bill, that's certainly okay. Again, the whole point of this bill wasn't to get it passed. The whole point of this bill was to call out the hypocrisy.
A waste of time, I tell you. Somebody is getting paid from this shit. Anyway, scientists have determined that there are 4 times more nutrients in cockroach milk than bovine milk. Who is doing this research? We need to get them defunded. Doge need to get right on this.
Look at all these niggers coming for us. Look at the niggers coming.
The cop's going to give us an escort to Freddie's car. Oh, fuck yeah. And he's going to let the boss.
Look at all the...
So apparently there's this white nationalist movement going around. They're all different colors, not just this one. It's being funded by the Open Society Fund, headed by George Soros.
Niggers coming. I think we got problems, J-Bo.
Yeah, that's what I was like, you guys are driving the truck, and my little ass is going to be walking by all the niggers.
And they call us cowards, but we're out here. Look at the niggers
Shit.
coming.
Hey, dude, they're all coming. Okay, we picked a good time.
We're outnumbered now. We're in the thick now, niggers. Nah. I'm ready to fight. Fuck them niggers.
Yeah, y'all motherfuckers ain't gonna do shit. Go ahead and move right the fuck along.
Filming? I'm filming.
Hey, watch that. Where's the camera? Where's the camera? Where's my camera? Go down a little more. Give us distance.
Thought you wanted to fight.
Hey, hurry up, come on.
We accomplished.
And that was to sow discord in the black community so they can do something somewhere else. That's why they were sent there.
Let's go. Flags to the right. Flags to
Ooh,
the
they're
right.
organized.
Where's that bullhorn?
One fucking power.
Look at them, y'all. The cops are helping them. You guys go ahead and get back, man. We'll see you back at the lodge. We'll see you back at the lodge.
They got our flag, dude.
Yeah. They can't know that we're together.
Let that bitch burn. Let that bitch burn. What I'm talking about?
I'm out.
Still liquidations off 15 shit. Purple, man.
Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Fuck y'all flag! Hitler been dead. Y'all live
Bro, is your blunt even lit? Go over there and get your lighter
in the
back.
40s.
Just go! Go! Shut up! Hands up, nigger! Bow down, nigger! Fuck yeah! They got one of your flags. God damn, boys! We got everybody.
I want to say this is another angle from someone that was a little late to the party.
We got these punk ass Nazis out here, y'all.
Y'all thought I wasn't gonna
In the
come
zone.
I'm on my way to DJ, man. I done came. What the
In
fuck
the
wrong with
zone.
Then go get your money if you finna go DJ. Why'd you
you?
stop?
They lost their goddamn mind.
They want to die today.
Right.
They want to die today. It's crazy, bro. What kind of shit is that to say?
Fuck these bitch ass motherfuckers.
They want to die today.
Hey, man, y'all get out of
What's
here.
up? What's
Come over here. We'll kill all of them. Fuck.
I don't get it, man. Why would you pull out your phone? Like, y'all come across the bridge. You take your ass across the bridge. It's not my first inkling to pull out my phone, you know what I'm saying, and start recording. That's whole shit to me, man. Take your ass over there and do something then.
Fuck them.
They can die today.
Fuck them motherfuckers. I can't stop them. Hey, man.
My thing is, these are charged up emotional responses.
They can
Like
die
both
today.
sides of them got guns.
They done
bro.
came to the wrong.
I bet they
One
won't bring their
side
ass here
protecting
no
the
more.
other side. Look, this is
one
right.
of their
They think
cars.
it's
Where's
their
the
car.
Travis?
No, it's a car from Toro. You just
They said
fuck somebody's
California.
side
That's the
income
tags
up.
on it. This, so you got the
How you
wrong
even know
hood for
that's
this
their
one.
car? What the fuck? What's really going on?
How you doing? So everybody coming out. They ain't letting.
Translation, this finna turn into a whole barbecue in a game of spades.
They ain't letting them get to the car. How you doing? This is crazy. This is crazy. They came to the wrong hood for this shit. This is crazy. This is crazy. We got kids that coming from school. This is crazy.
My thing is having the U-Haul with all the clan members all the way to the GE.
Well, I called Evendale.
They gonna get on me.
I called Evendale.
Man, this is sad. It's actually kind of disgraceful. I'm finna get up off of that and turn to the sponsor of today's show.
120.
Stunt Tips. Access to your personal firearm is pivotal in today's society. Whenever you need access to your strap, it's already on you. Say it with your chest. Stunt Tips. Show it up, ladies.
Y'all been hearing about all these crashes and shit lately over the past couple of years. They had one in February with the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and then they had another one. I posted on my page, but all of a sudden, I can't find it. I even looked it up. It was another Black Hawk accident over in North Carolina not too long ago, and then we had a whole bunch of bridge collapses, like 35 that they didn't even report. And now we got more crashes. Like, what's going on? Is this D.E.I thing really a thing? You know what I mean? Is it really something, or is it really something else?
Hey, another successful flight. All glory be to God. Just touched down at the airport. Dealing with this career, you gotta be cautious. Most of all, you gotta stay prayed up.
Alright, y'all, look over here. Look at that light right there. Wait, it's one of them lights. Just pay attention. Hell, you gonna see it. Boom! Ow. Oh, damn. That's tragic. This the cleanup crew right here. I guess
reaction to the initial news of another jet crash, which appeared to be fatal just 48 hours after that fatal collision in D.C.
Well, it's certainly unusual, but the two accidents are not linked in any way that I know of. It was an unfortunate situation that we had two of them that close.
The one concern I really have is why the Black Hawk crew was not at 200 feet or lower.
They should not have been that high. That, in my opinion, unless there was a mechanical issue, that would be pilot error.
Why was this particular crew, the Black Hawk crew, above that 200 feet? They were actually closer to 400 feet, which put them right at the same altitude, the maneuvering altitude of the regional jet.
Please remain seated until further instructions by the captain.
It comes as video shows the terrifying moments on board a United Airlines flight from Houston to New York City.
New at 10 video taken by a passenger inside a United Airlines jet shows smoke and flames that appear to come from an engine. That plane set to take off from Houston for New York City.
Precaution right now, request fire truck.
United Airlines says that during takeoff, United Flight 1382 received an indication about one engine and halted the takeoff.
Which engine was it? There's engine 2 is our indication, it's right engine.
More than 100 passengers and 5 crew members were on board, United Airlines says, including Daria Amai Shelton.
You know, we had a big popping sound that was loud enough to startle me out of my sleep, and then the plane actually jolted to a stop.
The flight stopping moments before takeoff, one of the engines shooting flames.
People were screaming, there were people jumping over the seats trying to get off the plane.
More than 100 people on board safely evacuating, some going down an emergency slide.
I thought I was gonna die, so I'm just happy. Once they said, you know, everyone evacuate the plane, and once I was outside, I was just hoping the jet wouldn't blow up in my face.
Given the recent tragedies in the sky, some passengers admit it wasn't easy boarding another plane.
I was the last person to get on the plane. I was scared.
And look, I know all of these incidents are very, very scary, but experts insist that flying is still the safest mode of transportation. But without a doubt, Robin, it's got to be safer.
Yeah, there. We begin, though, here at 10 o'clock with breaking news at O'Hare Airport. About 3 hours ago, a plane hit a vehicle on the tarmac known as a tug. The driver of the tug was pinned beneath it and had to be rescued. Police say the 64-year-old is now in critical condition with injuries to the head and lower body. No one on the plane was hurt. We're working to gather more information.
A 64-year-old is in the hospital with some critical injuries after operating a tug which collided with an aircraft on the runway while passengers were on board. Now, we know those tugs are those aircraft towing vehicles that work all along the runway, and in this case, it was operated by United and one of its employees. Chicago police say the plane was taxiing after landing as the wing of the aircraft hit the tug while the driver attempted to cross the runway. Police say that's when the vehicle flipped over and pinned the 64-year-old man underneath. He was taken to Luther General Hospital with some head and lower body injuries. Police say the man has been stabilized, though. American Airlines confirms this was one of their aircraft.
Planes and helicopters flying just a few hundred feet from each other. This past week's string of aviation incidents top of mind for flyers and an American pilot trying to reassure his passengers.
I had no higher calling than carefully and professionally transporting you today.
We are back from Washington tonight from the banks of the Potomac River, the site of that horrific crash, the deadliest plane crash in more than 2 decades in the U.S. And we have more tonight on the breaking news in on that case. We want to go to the images moments ago.
And data, at least so far from the time of impact, seems to show that that helicopter was flying too high. What is your takeaway right now, Keith, from the limited details we are learning right now?
Well, we've got a few pieces of evidence that are important. As you say, the helicopter was flying too high. The helicopter was flying a route which has what we call a hard deck. The helicopter could not climb over 200 feet and maintain his air traffic control separation. The collision took place at 325 feet. So obviously both the airplane and the helicopter were at that altitude when it took place. We also have information that the helicopter was off course somewhat, and the radio communications are in question as well. The helicopter should have been on one frequency and they operated by a single controller, and the airplane on another. That did not happen. Apparently the tower was understaffed that night, and one person had been allowed to go home early. Consequently, we had a single person
or a plant
controlling airplanes and helicopters on the same frequency, which is not the way it's supposed to work there at that time.
In another major move tonight, the FAA now suspending helicopter routes over the Potomac River in the area over and around the airport for at least 30 days. An FAA document and flight radar show that the Army helicopter may have deviated outside of its approved route at least once in the seconds before the crash. And early data shows it was flying above 300 feet when it should have been under 200. The NTSB tonight revealing they have recovered the helicopter's data and voice recorder, as well as both of the plane's black boxes, including the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder. They say river water got inside. Investigators recreating the final minutes leading up to that mid-air crash before that American Airlines flight started its descent. At 8:43 p.m., the jet's pilots told to land on a shorter runway. That Black Hawk helicopter now also making its way up the Potomac River. At 8:45 p.m., air traffic control alerting the helicopter to that jet's approach. At 8:47 p.m., asking the Black Hawk pilots to again confirm they see the jet. You can hear the alarm go off as they ask the Black Hawk, "Do you see that jet?"
S25, it's PRJ in flight. S25, F1 is PRJ.
Man, I don't see how people can do that. I couldn't do that job. I'll be like, huh? What? What did you say?
This club has a aircraft inside precision separation.
Seconds later, the collision.
17.
That final communication, a crucial piece of the investigation.
I had no higher calling than carefully and professionally transporting you today. So with that, relax and enjoy the beautiful evening that we get to fly in. We'll be underway shortly. Welcome aboard.
It's really touching because the pilot's speaking to the concerns that he knows that those people probably have sitting on that plane. By the way, that was American Airlines flight 1044, which was headed for Miami on Thursday, just a day after the American Airlines plane collided with that helicopter in D.C. I think we just listed off several instances of planes and mishaps. It still goes back to it is by far the safest mode.
Trying to get more people to die? No. You ain't fooling us, Mr. Man.
Of travel there is statistically. And it had been 16 years since there had been a plane crash, domestic plane crash with a carrier here in the U.S.
I don't think that's true. Hold on. There it is. Look. All right, y'all. It says here that was Colgan Air flight number 3407 on February 12, 2009. So, yeah, roughly 15 years ago. This flight was operating as a continental connection and crashed near Buffalo, New York, killing everyone on board and one person on the ground. While Colgan Air isn't one of the major airlines, it was operating a commercial flight within the United States, making it one of the most recent. Okay, so.
Give some perspective here. I've covered many instances and stories of plane crashes, small plane crashes. These are things that happen actually pretty often. Typically, we don't hear about what we've seen recently, which is large numbers of people passing away in these crashes. But whether it be small plane crashes or, our larger commercial flights, there are so many efforts underway to make sure that those flights stay safe, to make sure, to Ben's point, that it remains one of the safest forms of transportation.
There you go with that shit.
Data
Anyway,
from the deadly
along.
DC plane crash last week is now showing conflicting readings on the altitudes of the American Airlines plane and that Army Black Hawk that it crashed into. Now, the plane's data showed that it was about 325 feet in the air, but control tower data showed that the Black Hawk was at 200 feet. Obviously, that's not right, or they wouldn't have collided. So we haven't gotten any explanation yet for that, but investigators say they're still working to get data from the helicopter's black box.
Not even 2 weeks in office, President Trump already scoring another victory for the U.S., this one against ISIS. He ordered a military airstrike against the terrorist group's leaders in Somalia.
All right, and let's just get your initial reaction. We've all seen the horrific crash in Philadelphia around 6:30 last night. What do you make of what may have happened? I learned from covering the Washington crash as a reporter and going to the NTSB briefings, they say that in all investigations, they kind of look at three things: the human element, the machine element, and the environment element. We think that it was a cold but not particularly harsh environment night. We now just heard in Nate Foy's report from the jet company that there was nothing wrong with the plane. So could this be human error?
Yeah, so the NTSB looks at man-machine weather. I think the most dispositive piece of information we have now are the film that was captured. What I saw in that film, and I kind of juxtaposed that with the radar data, which is available now. So what do we know? We know the plane was climbing out, was in the air about 40 seconds, had reached about 200 knots and about 1,600 feet. When you pick up the film that we have of the crash sequence, it looked like all forward movement of this Learjet 55 stopped. It was preceded momentarily by what I saw was a big flash, probably an explosion. The plane nosed over almost vertically and then went on down within seconds and hit in North Philadelphia. So it devolves down to this: what could cause an in-air explosion like the one that was captured on the film? One of two things or both. One, this was an air ambulance. There were oxygen tanks on board. We don't know specifically what the oxygen tanks were, although some were captured on the ground. They look like simply compressed air, which can be incredibly flammable if those tanks are punctured in flight. And number two, jet fuel. Now, the back of this Lear 55, near the engines, there are fuel bladders. If the engine had a failure through a compressor blade, a turbine blade, and punctured those bladders, it could cause a massive explosion. So either way you slice that, I saw in-flight explosion. Seems the most likely cause, based upon available information now, would be the oxygen tanks. or a fuel tank perforation, and the tragedy that followed.
You know, Arthur, you're touching on something that Chris Bauer, aviation expert in our last hour, touched on, and that is this rapid descent that we saw. Here's a little bit of what he said. I want to see if you agree.
It looked to me like it was initially accelerating normally, but then it stopped. It seemed to have leveled off, and then it started a descent. Ultimately wound up descending at over 11,000 feet a minute.
The NTSB is...
Phil Washington actually kind of sort of withdrew his nomination, but I'm going to let you hear the kind of people that Biden was putting in office. Check it out.
Not sure I can answer that question right now. Sorry, Senator, I cannot answer that question. Well, thank you for the question, Senator. I'm not a pilot.
Can you tell me what causes an aircraft to spin or to stall?
Again, Senator, I'm not a pilot. I don't want to guess on that, Senator.
You know the three types, Mr. Washington? The three types?
Wait a minute. What? Mike, your thoughts?
You know, Maria, beyond this, he's under all sorts of criminal investigation for corruption dating back to his times in L.A.
Is going to do their full investigation. But I would note for your viewers that this plane is registered to the Mexican authorities. This is not a United States registered airplane.
Right.
Standards and procedures are different in the two countries. As far as the maintenance of this plane, I would say I would be very interested as a plaintiff's lawyer to know what they did to that plane when it was on the ground at North Philly. They refueled it. Was the refueling done right? Was there any maintenance done to the engines? Were the engine cowlings opened up? What was done? We know that there was a massive explosion. Now we have to find out why. Traffic controller's job on this, for my money, was terrible. I think he was preoccupied with getting a flight on and off the main runway, runway 1 at Reagan, which is the busiest runway in the United States of America. They normally have two controllers, one handling the military, one handling the civilian. This controller, we don't know who he was or what his prior schedule was, but I think was overlooked. And at an instant of time when his attention was diverted to the civilian aircraft, this tragedy happened.
This can't be good.
Now at 1:30, back to breaking news out of downtown LA, where a large group of students are marching in protest against President Trump's immigration policy.
That's not what this is about. They're lying. See, in California, they like to pin everything on Trump. Like, they really don't like Trump. Like, they really don't like Trump, like to their own detriment.
A fight has just broken out. Let's go back to Rich Prickett. He's overhead in Sky 5. Rich, what's going on?
Yeah, Glenn and Lou, just moments ago, what was a peaceful protest is now turned into a scuffle. We're seeing, looks like at least one person that's bleeding there after removing his shirt. We saw a couple of the protesters that were throwing punches at one another and then chasing each other down in the street. And then now it's spread into Grand Park here. But looks like at least one of those protesters, who we believe are all students from various high schools here in the Los Angeles area, have gotten together. So again, this just happening minutes ago. We watched it unfold. We'll widen out here just for a moment, just kind of give you an idea of the crowd size that's here out in front of City Hall. We had a couple hundred or several hundred students and protesters that were out making their way through the streets of Los Angeles and then collected back up at the City Hall along the steps. And the next thing you know, we just saw the scuffle happen. Some of the students or the protesters were trying to break up the fight, and then we saw some of them being chased down in the park here. So again, this just happening moments ago. We'll stay overhead, kind of monitor the situation, but I would imagine at this point this is going to prompt a response by law enforcement here that will make their way towards Grand Park. For now, I'm live in Sky 5. I'm Rich Prickett. Send it back to you in Hollywood.
I mean, do you see any police officers even getting close to this right now?
I would have to look out the window here, Glenn. Give me just 1 second. I don't right this second, but again, this just happening within the last couple of minutes. So if this is creating the attention that of what we just saw, I would imagine that some law enforcement presence would be necessary over here. But you can see some of the students that are trying to break up any more engagement here. But you know, there was a time where we saw one person that was running down the street on his own and then just being chased down by several of the other protesters, and then again it poured over into Grand Park here, and it looks like the students are trying to tend to this person here. I mean, I would imagine they're gonna need to bring in maybe a paramedic here to evaluate this person that clearly is bleeding right here in the middle of the park. So again, let me look out the window here and just kind of see where we are as far as any sort of LAPD or CHP that were in the area, but I'm not seeing them right at this point, not making their way into the park. But I would imagine at this point this is creating a lot of attention.
Rich, you keep mentioning someone who's bleeding. Can you kind of give us heads up, because there's so many people down there? Where is that particular person?
Right here in the center of the crowd is where that person is being surrounded by other people that were here protesting in front of City Hall, and then we're seeing other people that you can see just kind of waving people away and just don't want any more hostility here. Again, we saw this breakout right in the street in front of City Hall, and then next thing you know, they're running into Grand Park here. But yeah, right here in the middle of the crowd is where that person took off their shirt, and we could clearly see blood on their back. And again, we'll await to see what response comes to the park here. If it's going to be the firefighters, or paramedics to evaluate this person, or LAPD to see what's going on. But they certainly don't want this to break out into a bigger situation than it already was. And you can see they're helping that person, pouring some water on them. Looks like getting some of that blood off them. Not sure what kind of, if it was just from a punch, or if they fell down in the street, or what might have happened. We just saw the fight break out, and then it just kind of a domino effect from there. And it looks right now, it looks like the crowd has settled down, has calmed down, but certainly a large group here, and with the tempers flying, situation like this can certainly happen. So we're looking to see here. We're still no response here from the LAPD or the fire department here, but clearly you can see someone there with two people there with the. So we're looking to see here. We're still no response here from the LAPD or the fire department here, but clearly you can see someone there with two people there with the blowhorns. They're trying to keep people away and try and back them up, trying to cool the situation down here.
The internet is ablaze with clips of people furious at their gaming systems because there's so much going on. We gotta find something for these young people to do.
Ooh, what the fuck, y'all? God damn! God damn! God damn! What? Fuck!
This was my reaction when I found out that PlayStation Network was down. Oh, I didn't believe when I seen it, so I gotta check out my shit or whatever, right? And this is what happened. Can't use this content, verify to the server, blah, blah, blah. Go to settings and user and accounts. For details about console sharing and offline play for other people, you can enable it even if the server's down, right? Don't nothing work. Don't nothing work. Don't nothing work. Damn thing. Nickelodeon lost, bro. Don't judge me because I got that, bro. Chill out. Oh, come on, bro. Ain't for real. Alright, so just do what they tell you to do, man, and it'll be all over, right? Settings, user accounts. Okay. Other console sharing, that's what they said to do. They're doing some maintenance on the PlayStation Network right now.
You ended my fucking life. After everything I fucking did for you, you not gonna fucking talk to me. You did this to me. You ended my fucking life. And Teddy should have blown your fucking head off. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. You fucking did this shit to me. You did this shit to me. You fucking did this. You ended my fucking life. Fuck you, bitch.
Y'all motherfucking server is down. Get that shit back up. We trying to play. There's a bunch of motherfuckers at home that's locked and loaded right now. Fix this shit. Bill Gates, Microsoft, whoever the fuck.
Hey, look, man, it's been fun. I got a lot more videos coming, but right now my big head ass daughter want my attention. So I gotta go. But hey, man, I'll catch y'all on the next video. Peace.
What were you What you say, nigga?
Watch closely. You're about to experience a nigga moment. Webster defines the nigga moment as a moment when ignorance overwhelms the mind of an otherwise logical Negro man.
What did you say, bitch, nigga? Hey, squeeze it, nigga.
Causing him to act in an illogical, self-destructive manner, i.e., like a nigga.
I counted 7 so far.
Nigga moments are unpredictable.
Hey, wait, man, wait.